What's up guys, it's Matt here, back with my good friend Flo and another Mario Kart Tour episode on the channel, and we've got something new and exciting for you. Flo, are you excited to bring some new content to the channel today?
Absolutely, yeah, really looking forward to it.
Awesome. So make sure to hit like and subscribe, guys. As always, we're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers. Guys, we thought we would start out some new content on the channel with something a little bit spicy, something a bit of a discussion, looking at some hot topics in the community and really trying to bust some myths. So we're kind of tentatively calling this, Mario Kart Tour myth busting or something like that. But at the end of the day, what we're looking at is some of the topics and questions that we get all the time, maybe from newer players, or maybe some players who haven't been around this whole time discussing meta-analysis, and even some things that might be some long-held myths or beliefs by players in the community who have been around a while. And we all have been there, and there's various different things that we all believe when things aren't just spelled out to us by the developers. We have to figure things out for ourselves. So we're going to dive into some of that, and today for the first topic we thought we could take a look at the item's value. Based on the way that items come out, of course, there are lots of different ways to obtain items in the game. And infamously, the pipes have gone away, the Gacha element's gone away in that regard, but we do still have kind of a gambling element to the game where we've got to figure out what items are valuable, and we have to start investing often before we know or see the whole picture. So there's definitely, a lot of, myths and maybe ideas out there about how items get value and where that comes from and what's bad for an item, what's good for an item. Of course, nowadays we can obtain items through paid banner, through the spotlight shop, through ranked rewards, through gold pass gifts, and I think that's probably the main ways. Maybe Nintendo can spice it up with some more interesting ways, but for now these are kind of the four main ways. And so, so Flo, I know you've been doing a little bit of data analysis, and you're excited to share some of your findings with the community around, some of the averages. We're going to be looking at some averages of items, and how do they show up in ranked and things like that. So I'm excited to see it. But really, the question that I really wanted to ask as we start out is, should you be only investing into one type of item? Like, for example, should you be only investing in spotlight shop items or something like that? So we're going to take a look, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as we start out. What are your initial thoughts on a question like that?
Yeah, so for the people that are already on our server and maybe had a look at the ticket time updates a while ago, so I think 2 weeks ago, something like that, I did some analysis on the items, or maybe 3 weeks, and had a look. Okay, we have these four types that I just mentioned: so spotlight shop items, paid banners, ranked rewards, and gold plus gifts. And there are usually some rumors that the first two, so paid banners and spotlight shop items, are actually worth it, and rank rewards and gold plus gifts are not worth it. And yeah, this rumor is just because it also felt like this for a lot of players. So I thought, okay, but we have never seen a proof for this. So let's actually look at the data and see whether why this is the case. Is this because the coverage is way worse for the latter two items, ranked rewards and gold plus gifts?
Yeah.
Or is it because the type of the courses is bad, or because they have no ranked appearances, things like that? So I did an updated version of it for this tour, so the night tour state of now, and had a look at these different types, so ranked, ACR appearances, overall coverage, things like that. Brilliant. And the analysis on this.
All right, well, you're speaking our language, man. We love to analyze data. We love to look at the numbers and, corroborate, or, maybe there's some myths that are going to be busted. Maybe we will also agree with some things out there. So yeah, put your bets in the comments down below if you think you know what's about to happen. So I'm going to jump over and share my screen here, and we've got a beautiful spreadsheet. Gotta love some spreadsheets here. Let's just get get a little bit of space here as well as we go. Cool. So tell me what I'm looking at, and what jumps out to you in this data. Like, let's have some fun. Let's filter some spreadsheets and see what kind of exciting things we can discover. So where should we start, Flo?
Yeah, so first of all, I extracted all these data from the CSV files and stuff I generated for ticket time. So of course we have in the fourth column the name of some items. So these are all the items that were released since the Battle Tour, because starting from that point we haven't had any pipes anymore, but we had the Spotlight Shop. So of course there were a lot of changes. The paid banners were not that expensive anymore. They were at the level of the previous commemorative items, but still they are paywalled. You have to actually pay for them to get them. Of course, the Spotlight Shop items are then worth 70 rubies, 105 rubies, even more if you get it not directly at the release or in the very beginning. I think there also hasn't been the discount. So we already had, I think, 159 items released since the Battle Tour. And you can see the name column. You can also see the age. So at the top, you, for example, see the Rainbow Flappy Wings, age of 1. They were released just this tour. And then on the left, you can also see the type. It was released in the Spotlight Shop. And then also rarity, of course, it's on high end, and it's a glider. And then right next to the age column, starting from that, we have some different features of this item. So we see that it has 11 curses. This is, of course, something interesting. Of course, we have to keep in mind it's only 1 tour old. Of course, 11 curses would be very bad for an item that is 10 tours old. But for an item just released, 11 curses is the optimum, or close to optimum. I think it's the optimum so far right now. But it's also, of course, not everything. You also have to look at what are the curses that are actually covered. And ticket time and also most of the other algorithms also distinguish between retro and nitro curses. So of course, some curses like city curses do not appear that frequently, or other nitros like Sky High Sunday or things like that, as some newer curses. And also among the curses that are known as retros, there's some difference, since the most recent curses, like for example Waluigi Stadium, they are expected to appear a couple of times in the upcoming tours. And indeed, Waluigi Stadium already appeared in the second tour right after its release. This is why the weight can be very different to the plain number of courses. And then, of course, the column right next to it just divides this weight by the number of courses, so that you have an average weight. What's the average quality of the track it gets? Yeah. And then we also have two last columns where we get the number of ranked appearances, and then also the number of ranked appearances per tour. So what I assume here, and it's the same for the number of courses, is I look at all the coverage at level 8. So level 8 unlocks are assumed. That shouldn't affect the analysis that much, but it's just that some players decide to take it to level 8, and then of course you can also use it in ranked and so on. And over a couple of tours, this shouldn't make any difference anyway. So that's the number of ranked appearances. And then, of course, it's also interesting what's not the total number of ranked appearances, but also divided by the age of an item. And that's basically it. For a better overview, you can also see that the type, I also chose different colors. So we have Spotlight Shop in red, paid banner in blue, rank rewards. They are also classified whether you are getting it for the top 3 or top 4, and whether you can get it in 1 week or in 2 weeks. All of that in green. Gold Pass gifts in yellow, and then there's also premium challenges in gray. We only had 3 items so far of this type, so that's why we mainly excluded it from this analysis so far, because it's just
it's an unknown. Yeah. Okay, so I see a lot of Spotlight Shop items. Is that just because there's a lot of Spotlight Shop items that have come out in the game, or What does the data say? Like, should we only be investing into Spotlight Shop items? Is that the way to go?
Yeah, of course, that depends on the sorting. So right now, I think the sorting is based on the average ranked appearances. And that's usually the point where Spotlight Shop items are made for. So if you can now see also on top, there are a lot of items that are released in this tour or in last tour, so Age of 1 or Age of 2. This is, of course, this makes sense. Usually when an item is released, it is usually 2 or 3 times in ranked if you also consider the unlocks. And then, of course, it gets less over the tours. But usually it's at least 1 time in ranked, also for the next upcoming tours. But it cannot maintain this average of 4 ranked appearances.
Of course, yeah.
In each tour.
That'd be great.
That would be crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
So what we could do to make this a little bit more meaningful is that we look at the age column for the 5th column and filter out maybe the items that are 1, 2, and 3 tours old.
Okay,
since maybe then we get some better feeling what is happening here.
All right, and then sort by still sort by average ranked appearances.
Still sort by average. Let's stick to that maybe. And we can actually see that there are still a couple of Spotlight Shop items at the top. So that's very nice. You see some paid banners sprinkled in. The smiley flower glider is the one to mention here. And there's also some interesting premium challenge. The gold 8-bit glider did quite well. And then there's also a rank reward appearing here that also most people are aware of, which is the Rainbow Pipe Buggy, which actually does quite well in both in terms of ranked and also overall coverage. That's why a couple of people invested it, even though it's a rank reward, which there are rumors that they are not that well.
So let's talk about that then, because I'm really keen. So a big topic of discussion, and obviously this is a topic close to my heart that's come up in the community this last week, has been about Luigi Gold Knight. As we know, he's a ranked reward, infamously coming out last tour in the second week, so you've got only an hour to use him before the tour finishes. I won't talk too much about this because it will make me sad, but what really, I guess, first it surprised me, but it also didn't, because our server and Discord and our community is very focused on data analysis and again trying to predict what items might be valuable. And what surprised me is that the consensus seemed to be that people really wanted to go and win Luigi Gold Knight to keep him on the shelf at level 1 and never invest in him, which is quite surprising to me. I guess it's because there's an unknown factor. Maybe he gets buffed like nothing else, and gets incredible buffs and ends up being the best driver in the game. And so in that case, they want to have him, but actually there seems to be a real lack of confidence in him, purely because, I guess one factor is that he's a medium-sized hitbox driver, which shouldn't probably matter too much. But what seems to be more the issue for most people is the fact that he's coming out as a ranked reward. And looking, I guess, at Gold Petey Piranha, who I've also got thoughts about Gold Petey Piranha, but saying Gold Petey Piranha didn't get great value, therefore Gold Luigi Knight won't get great value either. And so I'm keen to understand, does the data back this up? As an average, is the answer that people are probably going to be right, and Luigi Gold Knight is just not going to be as good as if he had come out, as a Spotlight Shop item, for example, like DK Gladiator might be a similar comparison here. Of course, DK Gladiator probably getting not great starting value coming out in an almost all city tour, but came out in the Spotlight Shop. Does that mean he's going to be more valuable long term? What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, being Boomerang, that's maybe you can't really even compare the two, right? Because he'll probably get a lot more courses, as we know. Coinbox, they're a little bit more stingy. So, but aside from that, the quality of the courses in ranked, do you think there's going to be a noticeable difference between the two drivers? And what does the data say about this?
So I would argue that yes, I would expect that Donkey Kong Gladiator will turn out better than Luigi Gold Knight coverage-wise.
You're killing me, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Don't shoot the messenger.
Let's look at the data again. to back this up. So if you scroll down, so of course here we see the spotlight shop items, some paid banners. If you now scroll down and see who are the what are the items that do not have that many ranked appearances, and suddenly we come to the point where there's all turning yellow and green.
Oh no!
So we see
Gosh!
all the rank rewards and gold pass gifts.
Oh my gosh!
Not nearly as often in ranked as the spotlight shop items and the paid banners. So of course, what we have to consider here is that there are a lot of ranked rewards which are super items. Super items are, of course, that don't have that much of coverage. So this is something when we later come to the summaries that we also will consider, that we of course exclude super items so that the ranked rewards are not an unfair disadvantage.
I might just do that now. I'm just going to remove
you can also
the
do
supers.
it right now.
Yeah,
but the picture will remain the same.
It makes gold passes even worse. Gold pass rewards even worse. Of course, because they're high-end items, but they're almost just they're even worse than supers. So the data kind of, everything we've been seeing in the game it's just a visual representation of that, really.
Yeah. And if we now look, I think it's the fourth row from the top. There is Petey Piranha Gold located. Let's maybe look at this column, this row here, and we see, I think it's roughly a half ranked appearance, so one ranked appearance every 2 tours. Of course, there have been some ranked appearances in the very first tours, and now it's getting less and less. But of course, what stands out for Petey Piranha Gold is that the overall number of courses, I think this should be 45, is quite high.
Yeah.
So maybe we can just go up and look at this column and sort all items depending on the number of courses.
Yeah, good idea. There we go.
And if we look here, then we see some interesting items here that are also highlighted in some in some other trackers or in the rundown. Of course we all know the Blazing Eagle that has phenomenal coverage. Both in the total number of courses and also quality-wise, which we'll also look at in a minute. And then we also see some other popular items, Wonderful Garnet, Larry Wintertime, that actually has great coverage, even though
I had no idea he had 46 courses. That's insane. I think most people probably don't even realize that.
Yeah, if you're not invested, then you don't realize how good some items are. So of course, a lot of people are, for example, invested in 8-bit 1-up mushroom, which is of course also a great item, glider or item. But there are also many other good gliders, like Festivali, for example, which is not that popular, but also great, as we can see here in this sorting. Or Autumn Leaves, also not that popular.
Yeah.
And then also we see here Petey Piranha Gold at position 9 or something like that. So still doing great, has a great number of total courses. It's just not that he's that often in ranked. So it really depends on your goals, whether you go for overall coverage, ACR, then Petey Piranha Gold is a great option. If you focus on ranks, then probably he's not worth the investment.
Yeah. And for me, what I would say about Petey Piranha Gold is, when people started to discuss in recent kind of months that Petey Piranha Gold is not good or he hasn't got good value and stuff like that, I was actually genuinely confused. Again, similar to the Luigi Gold situation, I hadn't seen that he had bad value, because for me, my experience was that I'd got Petey Piranha Gold. I'd gone for him in ranked. I'd immediately invested into him, needing him for ranked in a couple of weeks after. And then ever since, I think I maybe took him to 6 in double cap, and then maybe like 7 in double cap, and then finally he's now at 8 and triple capped. And the reason I did that was because he ended up getting a lot of overlaps with other items which I had maybe at 6 in double cap or 7 in double cap or something like that, or even coin boxes with a smaller hitbox, and a combination of those different factors. And because of that, I saw that I was getting great value early in ranked, and then later in, you know, just in general coverage. So, you know, for example, Maple Treeway. I can't remember what, I might have been Pink Shy Guy Ninja I was using on one of the Maple Treeways, and then, you know, he got buffed on that. I'm like, oh, okay, it's almost like a nice surprise. Oh, Petey Piranha Gold got another course. So now I have a large hitbox, coin boxer at 8 and triple cap. So I get that most people don't have the luxury of taking an item to a high level like that, but I think there is this bias that happens. For me, I'm biased towards Petey Piranha Gold, but if you held off waiting for him to get just the right ranked appearances, you're probably biased the other way against him. But at the end of the day, what the data says is, yep, probably not the best for ranked, but overall coverage is great, as Flo is saying. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Petey Gold. Anything to add to that, Flo?
Yeah, one thing that we also should consider is maybe also the weight of the courses.
Right.
So if you look at the average weight, then it's also not that great for Petey Piranha Gold, since you just mentioned there are some Maple Treeway, some older tracks, which are maybe not that well covered. That's completely okay. So that he actually helps in ACR purposes, but of course these are not the brand new courses usually where you get the coverage.
Totally. Yeah, and he's the kind of driver that will, you know, lots of new courses come out, like a tour like this, you get all these different courses come out. He might get one, you know, top shelf. But then for me, he's like the only driver that I have at a high level on that course. And so if that's the case, then I'm happy because I've got coverage for that course. Again, the sticky point for most people is going to be ranked. You know, the fact that he came out as a ranked reward and then he doesn't get the ranked appearances is a bit of a slap in the face. So I can totally understand where people are coming from on that. Cool. What else, man? Like, what else do you notice in the data, or where should we look next?
Yeah, maybe we can already jump to the summary
cool.
sheet, because this is where we also, then aggregate all this information that is in the detailed list on the left side. So there we have seen that there are some interesting patterns. For example, if we look at the ranked rewards, we had the spotlight and paid banner items that were usually with better ranked appearances and ranked rewards and gold pass gift at the bottom. If we now look at the total number, of course, it was not that clear. So let's look now starting from the column of total number of courses. Here, indeed, you can't see that much of a difference between paid banner, spotlight shop, rank reward, and gold pass gift items. So yeah, as you can see, paid banners at 32.3, spotlight shop items 31.56, rank reward at 29, and gold pass gift at 30.29. That's not that much of a difference in terms of total number of courses. So this is quite similar. Of course, no statistical significance here. And you can see a little bit of a pattern that paid banners might have a slightly better total number of courses than the other types, and rank rewards a little bit less. But
it shows you how important the quality of the buffs is, and the, you know, especially with gliders, I've noticed this, like how you have to pick the right one, because you could pick a glider and take it up to, I don't know, 6 and double cap, and it's a waste of time because it gets all overlaps with gliders you already have at the same level or a higher level. So the quality of buffs is so important. But I wanted to say that I see comments, like I saw a comment from someone, you know, no disrespect, you know, everyone's plays the game in their different way, but it was a comment about, you know, Daisy Sailor has 53 courses or something like that now. Like, wow, this is so broken. And I thought, like, okay, not a plus skill, not a me, not a popular character. Not sure, unless you're a Daisy fan, I don't really get it. Like, even I think Draco655, I don't think he has Daisy Sailor at that high level. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know, Draco, if you know what level your Daisy Sailor is in the comments down below. But it just made me realize, like, people still focus way too much on the number of courses. It seems that when people talk about coverage, they're talking about this one-dimensional coverage of just the number of courses something gets. And I know that when I first started playing Mario Kart Tour, I'd go on Reddit and there would be these tier lists just with purely the number of courses items had, and that's how they would rate items back then. Oh, like, you know, Penguin Luigi is totally broken because he's got 21 courses, you know. You know, and I have invested in Luigi. Penguin Luigi, he was actually quite good for my account for a while there, but no long-term value at this point for the account. But you know what I'm seeing here is that the number of courses doesn't seem to be the big headline thing here. It seems like that's much of a muchness. It's a bit of a no show there. But when I look at the weighting, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but that looks quite different. What's going on there with the course weighting?
Yeah, of course, if you take into account course recency, whether it's a nitro or retro, then you can see an actual difference between paid bonus and spotlight shop items, which have a higher weight on average, and then ranked rewards and gold pass gifts even a bit worse. So usually you can put these two groups, paid banners and spotlight shops, and rank rewards and gold pass gifts. The first two are good, the latter two are not that good in terms of weight, and then of course also in terms of average weight, where you can also see the one is ranging above 3.5, the other was ranking below. It's not that big of a difference, to be honest, so this is not statistically significant, at least not in between the second placed and the third placed item type here. Between the groups, it is statistically significant, and of course you also see the pattern there. And of course you have to take into account, if it would be that obvious, then we would already know, and Nintendo wouldn't need to release any gold pass gifts or ranked reward items anywhere, because
I don't know why they're still doing it anyway.
Yeah. but yeah, it's not completely obvious, but you can clearly see some differences in the numbers in the data here.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so a lot to take in. I guess I'm keen to know what your takeaways would be from all of this. Like, how would you play? How would you invest? Like, obviously, so the rainbow pipe buggy really stands out to me at this point. Like, you know, if we think about our hypothesis at the start of the episode, you know, should you invest into ranked rewards at all? Like, is Luigi Gold Knight already a write-off, right? That's kind of the big question in my head. But based on this, even though the averages say that yes, you shouldn't, how do you anticipate, or like what do you do with these exceptions to the rule, like the rainbow pipe buggy?
Yeah, so of course there are some things that we do not consider at all so far, which is the item, and which is a coin box for Luigi Gold Knight. This is not affected at all in this analysis. So of course this heavily influences the value of the item. And just as a reminder, Petey Piranha Gold is still number 16 in the ticket time rankings, which is great. That's of course not the only thing that you should take care of, but it's still a very good item. It's just that there are maybe some other items that are better. If you compare them to Challenger Gold, of course, Petey Piranha Gold is worse. And this is also true for most of the accounts. But you can also invest in both of the items. That's also fine. Yeah. One thing doesn't exclude the other. And yeah, talking about the Rainbow Pipe Buggy, of course, also another advantage here is that it has a decent hitbox, so you can pair it quite well with Coinbox drivers as well. This is then, of course, something that is not taken into account here, but that is taken into account in ticket time. And if you get your personal ticket time rankings, then this will also influence the value and the ranking position for the Rainbow Pipe Buggy as an example for a good rank reward.
No, that's a really great summary. That's a great breakdown. And the other thing I notice in here, and you can tell me maybe it's not statistically significant like you say, but I noticed that even though paid banners are at the top, they seem to get a slight advantage in terms of the number of courses, the weighting of those courses, you know, higher quality buffs. I can see that actually when it comes to the number of ranked appearances and obviously the average ranked appearance, these spotlight shop items actually look a little stronger. What would you say is going on there, and do you think it's statistically significant, or is it a bit of a, you know, it doesn't really matter either way?
Yeah, so this is something that I think is very interesting, and this was not included in the last analysis I posted a couple of weeks ago. So I also had to look at the number of ranked appearances, and I was really surprised to see that the spotlight shop items are in a clear advantage in comparison to banners, and that's even statistically significant. This 1.44 in comparison to the 1.09.
Yeah.
Since we already had something like 29 paid banners and 41 spotlight shop items, something like that. That were already released, so we can already see a pattern there. And this is a huge increase. So this is 32% more average ranked appearances for a spotlight shop item in comparison to a paid banner item. And of course, it's getting even worse in comparison to rank rewards and gold pass gifts. So I think it's plus 70 something and plus 150% in comparison to gold pass gift. So it's 2.5 times as frequent and ranked as a gold pass gift item on average. The average spotlight shop item in comparison with the average gold pass gift. And this is huge. This is of course something that you need to consider if you are not a player with unlimited or almost unlimited resources, where you can't invest in that many items. Then you should really focus on spotlight shop items and maybe some paid banners sprinkled in to get your ranked results that you want to achieve. And also in terms of the total number of ranked appearances, there's also statistical significance between the first two groups, spotlight shop and paid banner items, in comparison to rank rewards and gold pass gifts, which are way lower. So
that stands out like a sore thumb. Well, I guess that's very encouraging, like especially for players like yourself, Flo, and me for the most part, where we're not necessarily looking to spend any much more money on the game. Like gold pass is giving you some extra rubies to pick up some spotlight items, but you know, it gives you, I guess it will encourage you that you can continue to do great in ranked, primarily through the strategy of buying spotlight items and looking for one that's, you know, the best, maybe it's got a nice starting value, or you need it for ranked or something like that, and you can go in and invest, commit to that item and get some great value out of it. So that's very encouraging to me.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Well, was there anything else you wanted to share more before we wrap this episode up?
Yeah, maybe let's again list the key points as a takeaway. Yeah. So if you look at the total number of courses, then there's not really a difference between paid banner, spotlight shop, rank reward, and gold pass items. If you take, however, into account what is the type of the courses, what is its weight, so how often do they appear in ACR and maybe in ranked as well, then there's a clear advantage already for paid banners and spotlight shop items. And if we even look at ranked appearances, then it's even more clear. So paid banners and spotlight shop items are here statistically significantly better than the other two types, ranked reward and gold pass gifts, with the spotlight shops items being even better in terms of the average ranked appearances, and the paid banners are sometimes rather late bloomers, so they collect some ranked appearances even if they are already 10 tours in. So that's why this total number of ranked appearances is quite similar, but the average number of ranked appearances is quite a bit higher for spotlight shop items.
Well, guys, I hope this episode helped you out. Thank you so much, Flo, for the analysis you put into this episode. The data is super useful. We hope that this was something helpful to help you understand a little bit more about the data that's happening in behind the game, what that might look like, and you know, whether this changes your strategy with Luigi Gold Knight or anything like that. You know, hey, this game is yours to play in the way that you want to play. So we hope that this data helped you to make informed decisions. And yeah, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this first episode, busting some Mario Kart Tour myths, and then you know, let us know some feedback around, did you learn anything? Is there something new or something that stood out that you didn't realize before, or that it's changing your strategy, or you want to look at your strategy and changing that? We would love to know down below, as well as any suggestions for future episodes or questions that you have about the game that you feel haven't been touched on. So thank you so much again, Flo. I'm sure you want to say goodbye to your fans, but just before you do, thank you everyone for watching, and make sure to hit like, hit subscribe. We're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers. and we love your support on the channel. Of course, our Discord is the best place to get connected for you to look at your own ticket time rankings and get support to understand and maybe even do some analysis on your specific investments or items that you're looking to invest in. So make sure to join our community. So thanks for watching. Flo, send us out, man.
Yeah, thanks as always for having me, Matt. And
Always.
Yeah, always looking up for looking for some interesting topics like this one, or maybe you have other ideas. Just put them in the comments or post them on Discord. Maybe you have even noticed that we maybe should have gone into one topic a little bit deeper. Just let us know as well. There's of course still open room for discussion, and yeah, get involved. Would be interesting to discuss about these topics.
Awesome. Thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.